we're going to get started here. Kick it off here because it's 8:05, but they kick it off. All right, let's start with something. Tell me something good. We got 13 people on us. We got to make it up. Everybody on this call has to say something good because we got 13 people. So let's do this. What's something good going on in your neighborhood that you can share and exciting? I know people got it. Let's hear it. Don't be shy. Unmute your mic. Let's go. We're live. That's number one. Thank God for that. What do you got, Sasha? I know you got something. I see you brewing up some over there, girl. What you got?
Well, I got a lot of business. I've been having to turn down leads because there's just so many coming in. So that's good.
Yes.
And not real personal, but this is just something kind of cool. The military just gave back like 400 acres in Kailua, like Eva Kapolei area, and we're getting a racetrack being put in back there. So Kapolei is like, it's already up and coming, but now there's just more reasons to invest out there. So pretty cool.
Nice. What kind of horse racetrack? What kind of racetrack?
Cars.
Oh, cars.
Cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. And when is that supposed to be proposed to be done?
I don't know. They just handed it over. So it's been like trying to, I don't know. People have been trying to get this for years. And so finally it's been approved or whatever. It's like beginning stages. So I'll have follow-up as we come.
I like it. It'll be right there in time when the zoo stadium's done. Right there. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah. And Amazon is coming, and another high school is coming, and another Costco is coming, and the whole Opili is almost built out. That's almost finished too. Like Kapolei and Eva is a place to invest. It's a really good spot right there.
I know. It's been a down spot. Like my family's from Eva, so it's like, ugh, Eva. But here we go. Watch it rise. Exciting. So that's good news. Thanks, Sasha. Congratulations. Okay. Let's keep going, girl. Good for you. Congratulations. I love it. Who else? Larissa, you had your hand. Go for it, girl.
I was actually trying to give a heart to Sasha, but I will go. Still. I'll try to put, but anyways. So I did have an agent. Well, she just recently licensed in the Atlanta area, so I'm going to invite her to come to our whichever call, maybe it's next week that we have, or probably link her with you, Chris. But she's actually engaging with me too. Like we had a chat on Friday, and she actually hit me up today. So she's super impressed with EXP. I sent her like our slides. So she's really interested, and she just messaged me. But she's asking a lot of questions about what leads are going to be given to her. So I don't know if she's thinking like girl, you got to get out here and work. You got to get out here, and this is a contact sport. Like you got to be doing your thing. Like nobody's just handing. But she definitely speaks highly of EXP. So I'll probably this is my second time. She reached out to me just a few minutes ago. So Chris, I'll probably link her, but maybe we'll have another team member here soon. So she's excited. She said I pumped her up. So I'm like, hey, I'm just telling you how I feel. So
I love it. Congratulations. By the way, Louisa is brand new, coming from Keller Williams, moved to Washington or Oregon. So she's rocking it. First listing already in 2 weeks. And also having this conversation with agents. Like nothing intimidates this girl. I love it. Good for you, Louisa. I love your energy. Keep it going. I'm proud of you. I love it. How's that listing come along, by the way?
So good. I think we're going to have to drop the price just a little. I was just holding off because there's new construction all around, but house looks great. They're finally out. I'm doing open houses every weekend, and it's a nice area, but brand new houses are selling for what we have it on the market for. So we might have to just drop it a little bit, but they don't want to close. They haven't been in it 2 years yet. So they were trying to hold off on getting hit with the capital gains, like some type of tax. They're military, but agents, people are looking at it. I can see, like I'm stalking people on KV Course, so I can see activity and in MLS when they're like looking at the property. So it's good. We'll probably just hold for a little bit, but there are brand new builds that are larger, selling for the same price that we have it on the market. So as soon as we price it right, I'm just holding just for a little bit because they don't want it to go too quickly anyways. And the husband is just getting out of the house, but it's all good. I'm talking to neighbors and trying to get them to see if they want to list their house while I'm out there. So
Absolutely.
opportunity.
Leverage. Listings are leverage. So leverage that thing. Congratulations. Good job. Keep it going. All right. Who else has got some good news? Something good.
We got the team we talked to you about last week, Chris. Norm, you talked to. We're interviewing him with Tony King tomorrow.
Yes.
We're getting closer.
I love it. I feel like that guy has very open-minded at least, and he doesn't have an ego, which is amazing. Two qualities, and the EXP model makes absolute sense to him.
Yes.
So I almost feel like this is a marriage made in heaven right here. It's going to happen.
Thank
And
you for your help with it as well.
yeah, it's going to put Florida on the map, and we're excited because each and every one of us are going to be out there for EXP Con in Miami in October. We're going to put a show on it. So we're excited to have a little event out there too. Congratulations. Keep us in the loop with that. If you need anything, you know, phone call away. All right.
Thank
you guys. Cindy, did you come back from a vacation, girl?
I did. I just got back from a European cruise and went to Italy and France and Spain and Canary Islands and Morocco and Portugal, and it was awesome.
Dang. All right. We see
Well,
some.
I brought the crud back with me, but at least I didn't get sick till on the way home. So
That's all right. The crud. Well, you got to go on vacation. You got to come back with something. If it's
That's
not
right.
luggage, it's the crud. All right. But you'll be good. You're not going to die on us.
Well, I had 3 closings while I was gone, and I'm doing a signing today for $1.3 million. So I'm stoked.
All
Yeah.
right.
Business carried on while I was thousands of miles away.
That's how it works as a realtor, right?
Yep.
Every time you get ready to go on vacation, business starts to accumulate. So
Absolutely.
go on vacation. That's the key. Go on
Yeah.
vacation. You get plenty of business. Congratulations, Cindy. I'm excited. Glad to have you back, and I hope you feel better soon.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to jump in there real quick? Throw some good news out before we move on to our guy for our mortgage minute? Once, twice? All right. Awesome. Duncan, sir, how are we looking at rates, and how is our mortgages going on these days? Keep us in the loop, my friend.
Hey, Chris, got some good news. Not in the short term, rates are still in that 7% area, so not the best, but they have peaked last fall. I actually did a video on that last fall, and they are on their way lower longer term. So in the short term, there's some good news on the mortgage front with the inflation reports that came out last week. There are a couple of reports. I'm going to share my screen. There are a couple of reports that came out last week on CPI and PPI. You can see CPI and PPI for the first time in years both came out negative month over month. And that means inflation is dying or dead, at least the inflation spike from 2000 or from the pandemic. So here's the 12-month change of inflation. We're headed down. We peaked over 9%. We're in the 3s, headed towards the Fed target of 2. You can see here in this chart, the main reason it's not already at the Fed target is because of the shelter, this purple line here. Shelter, the way the CPI measures shelter is it lags. CPI uses lagging data. This blue line here, or the red line here, uses the shelter data that's much higher because it uses 12-month lagging data versus current U.S. rents, which have been negative for 14 months. So if CPI actually used rents, then we would see inflation already at the Fed's target. Money supply has been the key to inflation. Money supply has historically been in that 6% range. When in order to keep inflation in that 2% and above area, it's got to be in that 6% range. We spiked way up over 25% with the pandemic, all the spending bills and everything. So that caused a spike up to about a year and a half ago. I did another video then declaring that the inflation spike was over from the pandemic, and it just took time for it to reflect in the economic reports, and we're finally seeing that in the economic reports. Mortgage rates, they peaked last fall over 8%. Now they're about 1% lower in the 7% range on average on the 30-year fixed. So we're seeing the move in the right direction, not as fast as people would like, but rest assured, we are going to see them go lower longer term. It's just not going to be as fast as people expected because of this lagging data people use. I did a mortgage video about why rates are headed lower longer term last fall after that spike. And then I also did a video on a lot of reasons why housing is going to remain strong. In addition to mortgage rates coming down, there's a lot of reasons why housing is not going to crash like it did in 2008. So you can see that video from last fall with all those reasons. One of the big reasons is inventory. This is on Oahu for single family homes on the bottom, condos at the top. Inventory remains well below the pre-pandemic levels. Condos have been coming up a little bit. We got a lot of new construction, and there's been issues with a lot of people getting financing with lack of hurricane insurance here. We can still do those loans, but most lenders can't. So there's been a little increase in condo inventory, but still below where we were pre-pandemic. So that's been really the key, is inventory just stays really low. Even though rates have shot way up, real estate prices have stayed strong. If you look at the sales volume of Oahu home sales, this is an inverse. It's an interesting curve from Paul Baker. This chart shows the mortgage rates, this dotted line, and it shows the home sales. There was the drop when the pandemic hit. But overall, there's a very strong relation between mortgage rates and the sales volume. And so mortgage rates have been really high this last couple of years. And we know rates are going to go lower the next couple of years. So we're going to be all really busy the next couple of years. I heard some people talk about there's people waiting on the sidelines who don't want to sell. They're waiting for rates to come down. And they're saying, oh, that's going to cause a big housing crash. But all those people that are waiting for rates to come down, most of them, the reason they're waiting is so they can buy their next property. So they want to buy their next property. They don't want to replace their 3% rate with a 7% rate. So when rates drop into the 6s or 5s, you're going to see, you might see more homes come for sale, but there's going to be a lot more buyers, including a lot of buyers waiting on the sidelines. So we'll see a lot of volume and sales picking up next couple of years. So that's good news for all of us. If you guys need any help with anything, I've got 11 loan officers on 3 islands, Infinite Financial, always happy to help. And we got lots of great customer reviews on Yelp and Zillow and Google. And this is why I do what I do. So thanks, guys.
I love it. Duncan always laying some good stuff down. I appreciate you with the data, because I think that's important. So I think we're seeing a curve on a good, maybe some light in the tunnel, possibly.
Definitely.
It's out the next 2 to 3 years. You got to write it out, people in real estate. If you did it in 2008 and you're still here, congratulations. You got to do it again and go into 2027. So we just got to write it out and do your thing. Stay in your lane. Duncan, always appreciate you. Thank you for always showing up. He's also sponsoring our event this Thursday.
Yep.
June 20th at Waikele Country Club. Grab your ticket because it's going. Sean Work is on a plane right now, flying over here, and he'll be here for Thursday's event, Listing Mastery, 21 Proven Methods to Dominate the Market. He is a crusher. So you definitely don't want to miss it out here in Hawaii. So Thursday, June 20th, grab your ticket. I'll put the Eventbrite link in the comments below. But Duncan, thank you for sponsoring that and always being a part of the support. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Thursday. Thanks.
Thanks, Duncan. Awesome. All right. So moving forward, Tom's here. Awesome. So Tom was delayed a little bit. He was doing a EXP explain because this guy is the 0.001% alpha kick-ass dude at EXP and why his organization is where it's at today. Tom is an amazing individual. I appreciate you, Tom, for coming on and rushing over here and make this call. This individual's been in the industry for decades. He's done it and had his hand in so many different organizations, from ARIA to like NAR, all these organizations. And now EXP, he's really been a big player in this as well. He's been at Build on stage. He's been at EXP Con at stage. He's been at Shareholders. He's been on stage. But definitely, Tom is an amazing individual and a great reputation. So, Tom, thank you for taking the time today, jumping in here and sharing with my group here in Hawaii and actually all over, from Michigan to everywhere. We're actually tied in here. So, Tom, go for it, my friend. The stage is yours. Thank you so much. Oh, your microphone's muted.
Thank you so much, Chris Okamura. Your energy is infectious, man. I love it. I can feel it coming right through the Zoom screen right here. Woo! Love it. Well, thank you. It's my honor to be here with you. It's a big responsibility when I get invited to calls like this. So let's see, Sasha, Linda, Loressa, Tara, Vanina, Rhonda, and 8 others, whoever they are. And there you go. Thank you, Dim Nguyen. Seeing you on the call. Nice to see you, girl. Love it. The Hawaii crew as well as everybody else. I guess Chris asked me to jump on just to share with you some thoughts, some ideas about how we continue to crush this real estate business. Maybe he wants to share with me, with you guys, my story and why and how I got to EXP and what drives me today and what I'm doing today. But really, I'm here for you. So if there should be a chat box, type in the chat, or more importantly, this is interactive. I don't want to be talking to you. I want to be talking with you and sharing ideas, right? So whatever is on your mind, bring it up and let's chat for the next 40 minutes, right?
I'd love to, real quick, Tom. I'd like to actually, your story you shared on stage on several different occasions from where you've become or how you got here. I think it's remarkable because a lot of people use a lot of their, I'd say excuses. I would call it excuses lightly, excuses of why they cannot succeed or why they're not reaching their goals. And I believe with your story, there is no excuses. There is just choices. So yeah, I'd love to share that with you if you could a little bit, get everybody a foundation of who you are and where you came from.
All right. How about this? I'll share, hopefully in less than 10 minutes, 56 years of my life. All right. I'll hit on the high points. Guys, I'm Vietnamese. If you understand Vietnam, in April 30th, 1975, the U.S. basically threw up their hands and says, we're done with it. Vietnam, we're evacuating. My family for that whole week was trying to leave. If you look at the old footage, you'll see people like fighting, scratching tooth and nail to get out of the country, to find a seat on the boat, to try to hop on a plane, to get out one way or another because Saigon was falling and the communist North Vietnam was taken over. We had tried 2 times before that week. I was 7 years old, by the way. And it was the final moment. It was the final hour where the U.S. has already taken off. The planes, the helicopters have already evacuated the embassy. And my mom basically took us 6 kids. There were 8 of us for the first 2 attempts. The last attempt, last day, my 2 oldest brothers and my dad basically threw up their arms and says, we give up. We don't want to do this. We're never going to get out. So she took the 6 younger kids, and I was one of those kids, and we headed for the port in Saigon. Long story short, gunshots going off, bombs going off, and we made it onto a ship, scratching our way onto a ship. I was told by my mother to climb up ropes without anybody. Get on that ship and then scream for the rest of the family. Sorry. I don't tell this story often, Chris, but every time I do, it brings back the memories. Anyhow, got to the U.S., sponsored by a church. We were refugees. And for 5 years, we worked our tails off. My mom always wanted a hand up, not a hand out. At 10 years old, guys, I sold cookies. The Girl Scouts knocked on my door and they sold my mom these Girl Scout cookies, and I opened it up and I ate it. It was hard. It was not soft and moist. It did not melt in my mouth. And I said, man, I can do this. I can bake cookies at 10 years old. And that's what I did. And I commissioned my younger brother, my younger sister, and my friends to go out selling cookies while I baked it to door knocking. That was my first attempt at recruiting, by the way, for EXP. All right. Got a paper out, not just one, but back then in 1978 through 1981, 2 paper outs. Remember, I was going through middle school, basically. I did a paper out in the morning before I went to school. So I got up at 5 o'clock to deliver newspapers. And then when I figured out I could make some money to help the family make more money, boom, I got a second paper out in the afternoon to make money. Right. One story that resonates with me is one day, about 3 years into the United States, I was 10 years old. My mom sent me to a grocery store and she gave me money. I got in line. I picked up the milk, bread, whatever it was that I picked up. And I got in line. I got to the register and the attendant says, you're in the wrong line. I said, what do you mean the wrong line? He goes, she actually says, this is the regular cash line. You're in the food stamps line. Go to the other line, food stamps, right? That's help from the government. I came home that day and I said to my mom, what is this? And so I figured out that we were getting subsidized. We're getting a hand up instead of a hand up. And I didn't want a hand out, right? And that was the day where my entire family we worked even harder to achieve the American dream. 5 years later, we bought our first house. And that was the beginning of building generational wealth. Okay. Fast forward, I went to college, graduated, worked the corporate world for 13 years in the insurance world, climbed the corporate ladder from basically the mail room. They didn't have a job for me after I finished my summer intern, but they knew I was a hustler. And I clearly remember the owner says, Tom, I don't know what you're going to do. I don't have a job position for you, but I want you on my team. So he created a job for me in the mailroom. 7 years later, I climbed from the mailroom to the corner office as the CFO, one of 6 publicly traded chief financial officers for an insurance firm called Arthur J. Gallagher. That's still the 3rd largest in the world today. When I joined with them, they were 10th largest in the United States. When I ended with them through mergers and acquisitions, 3rd largest in the world. I gave my life, my 13 years to them. But then I realized that I'm never going to get rich. I'm definitely never going to get financial freedom working in the corporate world. Yes, I got 5 weeks of vacation at 33 years old, but I still had to ask my boss for vacation time, right? Yes, I got raises. The typical raise that we handed out was 2 to 3%. That was hardly enough to cover cost of living increases. By the way, this is my wife, Marissa. She's my business partner. She holds down the fort to help us build 1,300 agents.
Hi, guys.
All right, we're an amazing team together. And so I left the corporate world and I became an entrepreneur. Laundromats, dry cleaners, bagel shops, liquor licenses, country clubs. In 2 years, I blew my entire stock savings through the corporate world to basically get the entrepreneur bug out of my system. The one common denominator after all that soul searching and entrepreneurship that I found in very successful folks who made the money in high tech, low tech, no tech, whatever industries they were in, they resorted back to the common denominator, which is real estate. They invested in real estate. When we insured their businesses, we saw their portfolio of their companies, and then we saw another portfolio of real estate holdings. So I said to myself, wait a minute, if everybody's making money doing something else, and then they invest in real estate, why don't I just go in real estate? That was 19 years ago in 2005. Okay. Burned the bridge. Shut down all my other businesses, got my real estate license, actually made my wife, Marissa, who you just saw, get her real estate license. She was a pharmaceutical sales rep. We were happy. We were good. We were getting W-2 income. We had health insurance, but we burned the boats, just like my mom burned the boat in Vietnam. We burned the boats to achieve personal financial freedom. Okay, we worked our tails off. In 2005, business was easy, folks. If you had a client who could breathe, who could fog a mirror, you can get them financing. 105% financing, right, Chris? Right? For those who've been in business long enough. But then the tsunami of real estate hit in late 2007. My brokerage was up to 14 agents, 15 agents, and I had to hunker down. Do I quit the business like most real estate agents and brokers, just fold it and go back to working a job, trading time for money, or do I hunker down and double down and triple down? And that's what I did. I had Olivia, who's about 2.5 years old. Chloe was on the way. My 2 younger daughters. Marissa was pregnant, and they hardly saw me for about 2 years. I was door knocking until my knuckles bled to generate real estate business. I was cold calling and dialing for dollars and calling and building my sphere of influence to get business. And soon enough became what you would consider an icon agent, doing icon production. Okay. A closing every 10 days, making $300,000 a year, doing well, and sold my brokerage. And then worked for them for the next 3.5 years until I saw EXP 6.5 years ago, guys. When I saw EXP, I was not looking at all. I was very happy. Cleared $300,000, had some sort of a life, had my real estate investments, my Airbnb, I was flipping houses. I owned the We Buy Ugly Houses franchise. If you guys saw those billboards, I was one of those franchisees, doing all right. And then my sponsor, Tracy Gagnon and Scott Lewis, reached out to me on LinkedIn, sent me a message on LinkedIn. All right. And I ignored it. They picked up the phone, they called me, and I said, no, thank you. Right. I'm not interested. I'm happy. I'm good. How many of you guys hear that when you do agent attraction? I'm good all the time. She dug into my social media. She found a video where I was announcing to the Asian Real Estate Association of America, 17,000 members at the time, why I wanted to be their national president, why I wanted to serve and give back to the community to promote sustainable, affordable housing for the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander communities, to give my time, my energy, my resources to help promote homeownership. And the reason was to fulfill a promise that I made to my mother 2 weeks before she died. I didn't know I was speaking to her on her deathbed, but she knew. And for years, she would not be so proud of this kid because unlike most Asians, growing up in an Asian family, my brothers and sisters had doctor's degree, engineering degrees, masters in whatever, this, that, and the other. I was one of 3 kids who only got a college education, who graduated second from their class, from the bottom of the class. All right. So for years, I never got her approval. But then 2 weeks before she died, she said to me, Tom, I'm so proud of you. I said, why? She goes, well, I notice that you have a lifestyle, that when we have family reunions, you're the first one to say yes, where and when. Didn't matter whether you had to check with your boss for time. Didn't matter whether you had to check your bank account to see you have the money. Didn't matter where it was, and you always been generous. And hey, if people can't afford the hotel rooms, Tom will get the Airbnb. Just come, right? And she goes, Tom, for the rest of your life, would you do one thing for me? Would you help at least 100 people become personally and financially free like you have, doing what you do in real estate? And I said, of course. I said, of course. I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I had to say yes. Who would not say yes to their mom, right? And then not so long after that, Tracy reached out to me and Scott Lewis reached out and they says, Tom, do you have a way to fulfill your promise that you made to your mother? And I knew that answer. I did not. The only way I could fulfill it was to fund people with bagel shops, lost $40,000, fund people with dry cleaning businesses and lost all that money, ran country clubs, personally guaranteed the lease, was there night and day to make sure no one stole from me, and invested in them. And if they failed, I would lose my money, my principal, along with, in some instances, guaranteed a lease because they didn't have the credit and I had the credit. So my name was on the lease and I had to earn, basically buy out the lease. That was my only way of helping people. And you can't do it in masses. You can't help 100 people by doing that, right, guys? But I understood with the EXP Realty model, I can help tons of agents by jumping on calls like this for Chris whenever he asks. I've never said no to anybody out of 88,000 agents. I just gotta get on your calendar, and then serve you like that. So that's why I'm here, guys. I'm fired up about what I do. 6.5 years later, I have 75 frontline agents, 35 qualifying agents, and 1,300 agents in 250 cities across 5 countries. I love what I do, and that's my why. You know, Duncan mentioned earlier, what is your why? I'll wrap it up with this. It is 2024, June of 2024. Who knows what's going on with interest rates? Who knows what's going on with the amount of inventory that's out there for us to buy and sell? Who knows whether the real estate industry will continue to help agents either thrive in the business or leave the business? According to the National Association of Realtors, at the height of it, we had about 1.7 dues paying members. Do you know what the Realtor Association is projecting for this year? What is our membership going down to from 1.7 million to what? Who knows? Who's following the magazines? So about 1.4 million. So 300,000 agents who are licensed, who are paying their dues with NAR will exit the industry. Guys, that's right, Sasha. Why? Why, Sasha? Open up your mic. Why did you clap?
Because I'll take their jobs, no problem.
Yeah. When they leave their spheres of influence wide open for you and me to capture. When they leave, their clientele will continue to have babies, will continue to get married, get divorces, move for their jobs. And here's our chance to capitalize on that unspoken for business. And that goes with real estate agents as well. When their brokerages are tightening the belt, not sweetening the pot, not giving agents more compensation, EXP thrived and rolled out Revenue Share 2.0, giving the overwhelming majority of agents a massive pay raise while still staying profitable. That's the company we belong to, guys. And that's why I'm so passionate and I love this company. All right.
I love it. So, Tom, obviously, I think your core ingredients to your success, we'll just lay it out there, is hard grit, work, persistence, determination, never willing to quit, and never willing to say no to anything. Like, it was a yes to everything. Something that I've ran my life to parallel. Like, I've always been a yes guy because honestly, I have nothing to lose. So to me, it was like, I can say yes to everything. But as we know, majority of the people, the other percentages won't show up. We know that, but only the why 1% will do what they do. Besides, let's say, above all the grit and the hard work and the why, the determination, the 24/7 work and relentlessness, what could we, as a core fabric, to kind of maybe share with the group some things you've done to get your organization to be at this 0.0001% of the alpha group? What are you doing maybe differently, or what is your strategy? What is your habits? What's your rituals? What are you doing daily? Something that you can maybe insight some people to do, they can maybe apply in their life, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Great question. So you mentioned a few words there, Chris, that's really important. Chris is a yes man. And I love that. You know, but at the beginning I said no, but I really didn't know what I was saying no to. And until she caught my attention, I didn't want to lie, right? I was just politely saying no. But then when she asked the real question, I couldn't say no anymore. I had to say yes to listening to the opportunity. Here's my lesson. Here's what I've been sharing with our agents now, okay? And for a long time. Real estate agents have this disease. It's called the shiny object syndrome disease. We go to the seminar, we get fired up with someone on stage, we run out to the desk, it's a promo. If you buy today, you get 50% off. Oh, wait, it's actually better, 70% off. Buy today, buy. And she says, yes. Cool. I don't say yes to something until I figure out what I'm going to say no to first. Does that make sense? Next time you guys try something new, add something to your plate, ask yourself, what am I going to give up to do this thing that I'm going to say yes to? Because so many of us have said yes to way too many things, and we operate at 50% level or 60% level or worse than that, and we never perform at our highest peak, right? I've said yes to my daughters and my wife that spend quality time. I've said yes to my garden, to my health. I've said yes to my organization to be there for them, which means when Chris asked me to jump on a call, I have to check my schedule to say, what am I going to say no to before I say yes to Chris, right? And I do that, right? Well, that means I got to spend one less hour today working in my garden, and that's okay. It's for a better cause, for a better purpose, right? So please be careful with the yeses. When you say yes, before you say yes, really dive deep on why you say yes. What is it really going to mean to you, not just for the short run, but for the very long run? How will it add value to your life, not just this year, but for a decade to come and maybe generations to come, Chris? All right. For me, the priority, at least for the first 2 years in building EXP, Chris and everybody, was to have at least 20 conversations a day about EXP, to book appointments enough to show 2 programs, 2 EXP Explained a day live. That was the promise that I made to myself. That I promised myself because I got it from Rob Flick and Gene Federick, and Scott Lewis. Those are the three guys, my mentors at EXP. They're my upline, right? I asked Scott Lewis, Rob Flick, and Gene Federick, what do I need to do to create $250,000 in revenue share a year? $20,000 a month, mailbox money. Come the 20th of the month, come hell or high water, I've got 20 grand on my bank account. And that says it's simple. It's just a formula. Find 10 capping agents and help those 10 capping agents find 10 capping agents each, and there's your $250,000. And I said, okay, well, how long is it going to take me? Right, Sasha, how long is it going to take me? All right. And they says, well, I mean, you can do what Scott said, Scott and Gene and Rob Flick says, you can do what we did. We burnt the boats. We made calls 8 hours a day. Rob Flick camped out in Arizona at a coffee shop for 8 hours a day, making calls, telling his team that he's going to be there 8 hours a day. Just send prospects there. And if it's just send them there and he'll show the program. Sometimes no one would show up. Sometimes 3 people show up at the same time. And if 3 people showed up at the same time, he showed up to 3 people at the same time. But if no one showed up, he made phone calls and he made phone calls and he did 8 hours a day and he built an organization. He and Scott Lewis did the same thing. 500 agents in 1 year. I couldn't afford 8 hours a day. I said, what if I did 2 hours a day? And I was religious about it and I time blocked. They said, well, 2 hours a day, it'll take you a couple of years. And that's exactly what they did, guys. 2 hours a day, 2 years later, $250,000, an organization of about 500 agents. Right? 500 agents, about 100 of them capped, which gave me the $250,000 in revenue share. So the discipline, the question you asked me, Chris, is what do my daily habits? Time blocking. My calendar, I'll show it to you. I'm very time blocked. I use Google Calendar. Green, dark green is working on my front line, recruiting to my front line or working frontline agents. Light green, this is the call right now, is helping everybody else in EXP build revenue share. Yellow is my personal time. I'm going to the garden and working on my garden today. The reds are my appointments that I have to be at. That's today. Here is tomorrow. You can see it's pretty wide open, right? But what is important are my greens, which is revenue producing activities and appointments. I'm very time blocked. I can always look at my calendar. Let me show you here a quick shot of my week. I can see my business at a glance on how busy I am and what activities is keeping me busy, and reevaluate what I'm doing. All the white, the yellow is my personal time. Time blocked personal time. Nothing else gets in that way. And then, of course, all the whites is also personal time. I don't have to be anywhere, talk to anybody. I'm just on standby doing my thing. So number one habit every day, Chris, is time block. 10 minutes a night before my head hits the pillow, or sometime before I rest for the night. I look at my calendar for tomorrow and then for the rest of the week. And then I basically make A, B, C's. A, B's, and C's. I still write it out, even though it's on my calendar. What do I absolutely have to get done today? Those are the A's. And if I have 3 A's, then it's A1, A2, A3. This, by the way, I didn't make this up. This is Robert Covey. If you understand Robert Covey, read his books. I got the system from him. The B's come after the A's. The C's come after the B's. At some point, the B's become the A's. At some point, the B's and the C's that never get done get knocked off and don't ever do it again. Just say no to them because they weren't that important in the first place. That's it, my time blocking.
Which requires a lot of boundaries, by the way. I think that's right, inevitably. I always call it my dirty yeses. Stop having dirty yeses, because my dirty yeses is what gets me in trouble. And you say yes to something that you probably should say no to, and then it ends up biting you in the butt later on because you had to give up something else, and that's where you find your issues. And so, yeah, I stopped doing the dirty yeses. Actually, I have another word for it, but I can't say it on here. But it's either a F yes or a F no, and there's no in between. That's how I feel. I feel there's an F yes or F no. There's no gray area. There's no maybe, because in your life, when you're really being like time block, time sensitive, or following your calendar and honoring yourself, it is either a F yes or a F no, and there's no in between. And when you get to that point, then you don't sell yourself short and you don't like dishonor your boundary.
Yeah. Here's another F that you will enjoy. FU.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? FU. You guys have heard this before. The fortune is in the FU.
Yeah. Follow
The
up.
follow up.
Yep.
I practice that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more important to FU to follow up than it is to make the friggin' phone call in the first place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the question you have for ourselves is, what is our FU system? I'm using KV Core. I'm using CRM Growth to build my agent attraction business. I'm using my calendar as an FU system. What is your system, right? To follow up. Very important life skill.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. The follow up, gold's in the follow up for sure. Always has been. And I think
I mean, the goals, right? So do you have a computer? If you follow revenue share, there it is. That's my wealth chart, boys and girls. That gets updated. I look at that every day. My wealth chart, right? I have my leaders in my organization. The yellows are the ones that said they're coming on, and I just got to close them, right? In my kitchen is my vision board. On my cell phone are my kids. I see them all the time on my cell phone. That's my why, right? On my refrigerator is my vision board.
I love it.
I want my backyard looking like that, right? And I look, it stares at me every day when I open up the fridge, grab a drink, grab some food. That's my vision board. And that changes, by the way, when I finish, when I'm done with something, I take the picture down, I put it in my folder. I've accomplished that, and I put up a new vision board.
I like it.
Right? So do you have your goals set? Are they written down? Do they smack you in the face every day?
I love it.
Those are my habits.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing. We got about 10 minutes left, you guys. Who's got some questions or thoughts or ideas or anything they want to say to Tom here? And thank you again, Tom. Go for it, Rob.
Hey, I was just wondering, what kind of numbers are people pulling now on prospecting for agents? I know you said, Tom, 20 to 1, basically 20 calls, get 2 appointments. And I understand 6 years ago.
That was 6 years ago,
Does
Robert.
that hold the same now?
No, that was 6 years ago, man. Now,
That's what I thought.
what I answer, the way I'm going to answer is going to be sort of unfair. So you have to qualify, okay? I'm 6.5 years into calling agents and having a sense of confidence today versus my level of confidence before, where I was faking it until I made it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a totally different. So I got to be fair in there. But I would say if you learn the scripts and you practice the scripts with Chris, with anybody, that if you come across excited, number one, enthusiastic, number two, confident, number three, 1 out of 3 will say yes to an appointment. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but sometime in the future. 1 out of 3. EXP is the place to be. If not EXP, then they're going to say, well, I also heard of Real and LPT and Epic and all these other things. And they'll say, great. And I say, great. You're on the right track. At least you're going to land in a cloud-based brokerage. Do you understand that before COVID, cloud-based brokerage really did not exist? It was like beating somebody up to tell them cloud-based brokerage was working. Any brokerage now that is launched has these 2 formulas: cloud-based, revenue share. Without cloud-based and revenue share, you don't have a real estate model for 2024, right? So now it's a matter of comparing and contrasting. And so, guys, Robert, I say this: that's awesome. What do you really know about EXP? And what do you know about EXP's stock plan and health benefits plan and revenue share plan compared to the competitor that you're shopping with? Would you like a free consultation?
Great.
I know my competition inside and out. I know their revenue share model inside and out. I study it. I'm a master at it. And I say this to them: hey, after a 1 hour meeting, whatever, you can't even sign up with me that day. You got to sleep on it. Go home, talk to your spouse. And that lets them off the hook.
That's good. So 1 out of 3, we'll just say on the meetings, how many meetings before they sign up? I'm a numbers guy, so I don't care about how if it's 100.
Robert,
That's fine. As long as I
that is
know.
that is so hard, my man.
Yeah.
That is so hard, and the reason I can't answer that question is here's how I can answer it. If you have the skill set to peel back the layers of that onion on what their why is, what makes them tick, if you get them to open up and cry like I do as a grown man when I talk about making that promise to my mother, and you get to the core of what ticks them, what makes them tick, and they fully understand the power of EXP, 100% they will join you.
Yeah.
But we rush the EXP explain. We rush building a relationship and earning their trust. See, we haven't connected with them enough for them to really open up to us, to really share their pains, their dreams, their desires, their wishes with us. Maybe they share with somebody else, but they haven't gotten to the point in their relationship with you to share with you what they really want. Get to that, and it's almost 100%.
I agree. Yep. Thank you very much.
I've been chasing a broker owner for 4.5 years, independent, 4 offices. Last week, he completed his onboarding application. Woo! Yesterday, today's Tuesday. Today, he started onboarding himself and 1 agent at a time, 100+ agents, 4 offices independent. And to answer your question, Robert, it wasn't until I got him to a regional rally here in the Northeast that I hosted, that Michael Valdez showed up to, and Amy Weaver showed up to, and Frank Panunto showed up to, that after that, and he invested some quality time with us and with me, that he finally opened up and talked to me about his kids, about his wife, about his family, about some of his pains. That was 4.5 years. Mm. And then I have competition from Real, from Keller Williams, from Epic, knocking down his door. And then in the silent moment where I knew I had his trust and his attention, I asked him 2 questions. Michael, how well do you know me now? And he proceeded to say, I know you very well. I stalk you. You're on LinkedIn. I follow your social media. I see how you handle your life with your kids and your partners and how you always uplift everybody else, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, well, okay, cool. I said, do you trust me? And I zipped up. And that was the moment in time I knew I had him. Mm. Yes. He said, yeah, I trust you out of everybody else. I trust you. Let's do this. Mm. Okay. Very important, guys. Good question.
Which goes back to solidify the same thing. Relationships matter. It's always relationships. Relationships will trump everything. It will trump everything. So I think most of us are really, you're right, rushing all this, trying to shove it down their throat, and really excited about EXP and talking about all the high bullet points, but we're not really trying to make a real friend, where we're like the person you would bring over and invite them to Christmas, the person you invite them over to your anniversary, to hang out at your kids' bar mitzvahs and your birthdays, that kind of friendship that you hang out on a weekend night, that kind of friendship will trump everything, because trust is everything.
That's right.
I love it.
Right. I love it. Okay. Yeah, it's so important. You know, you guys all know that saying, right? People don't care what you say until they know that you care.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's like that team, Chris, that may come aboard. Like, we didn't even talk about EXP. We've been hanging out with them for a couple of months.
Yes.
Every 2 or 3 weeks, going out to dinner with them and just making friends because we like them. Mm-hmm. And it was that we said, let's just try this. Let's just be friends, not even bring it up. And over time, and then one dinner we had is probably our 5th dinner with them. And I just said, aren't you with EXP yet? And they gave me some objections, and I overcame, and then now we're moving along. Who knows? But you
That's
just wait for that window to open.
Yeah, and you're planting seeds along the way the entire time. You know it. They know it.
Yep.
Right? When they're comfortable enough bringing it up, that's when you're going for the kill, man. Yeah. That's,
I love it. Rob and Linda, you guys did a great job. And again, you're building a relationship over time, and that's where it's really, they're going to trust you over everybody else at this point. Anybody who calls them out of the blue, whether it's from Epic or LPT or Real, and starts trying to spit all these opportunities, they're going to go back to like, well, I know Linda and Rob, we actually spent time with them. We know them. We trust them, period. End of discussion. It is what it is. So
you've also heard this, guys. The major events do the heavy lifting.
Yes.
I cannot stress enough how important the major events are. Right, there's 10 build 24 going on. You know, Brent Gove decided to break it up, and I love it. Right, I have the pleasure with Dave Kennard, our past EXP Realty president, to host the Northeast one in New Jersey. But they're everywhere. Go to buildevent24.com, something like that, and look for those events. No, that's where people make major commitments. Okay. So attend EXP Con in Miami. Hopefully you guys are going to be there.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, you got to be there. Right. I always bring guests. I tell Marissa, always buy a couple of early birds right away. And then it's our job to fill those seats with our guests.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Bring it. I mean, that's the key is all these events like builds that Brent's been doing for a long time and all these other EXP conventions and shareholder meetings, they're all designed the same way, right? They're the heavy sledgehammer. We just got to bring the little small nails, and it will nail it down for us. And we're missing the fact. I think we're really missing that opportunity that these events are designed to help you build, where you don't actually have to create that environment, and where, like you said, people make big decisions at big events. So we'll create the events, and that's what I'm kind of doing out here in Hawaii. My goal is to help out there with Linda and Rob out there in Florida, across the country, start doing all this everywhere, where we can line up this and create big, massive sledgehammers. So. Tom, you're amazing, my friend. Thank you so much. Your energy, your story, super compelling. Man, there is no excuses at all. I can say right now, no excuses at all whatsoever. It's just pure determination on where you want to be at. That's all about choices, and it's your choice to decide that. And you can design your own future. Life by design, not by default. And you designed your life, Tom. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Not at all. It was the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. But look where you're at now. Right? So it's either easy now, hard later, or hard now, easy later, and you pick the hard first, and now you're at the easy later. So congratulations.
We'll leave with one last tip. I
Yes.
love that you said that because it goes exactly what you said there. My daily habits, do the toughest things first.
Yep.
Have the toughest conversations first. Otherwise, it's just going to weigh you down for the rest of the day and destroy your spirit.
Yes. Amen.
Right. The first thing this morning, I dealt with home inspection items. You know, put them on under agreement, and it's tough. But I dealt with it first. Let's get through the home inspection items. Let's negotiate. That's the hardest thing today. Let's do it right away. Right. Have the hardest conversations. Boom. Get it out of the way, and the rest of your day is just easy.
I love it. Yep. Was that saying swallow the elephant, or is that swallow the elephant in the morning? Or something like that? There's a book about that, right?
Is that? Yeah.
Yeah. Eat the elephant in the morning, or something like that, or whatever. But obviously, we're not going to eat it. Yeah.
Just do it, man. Get it out of the way.
I
tell my team, I tell my kids, I tell my wife, you know, good news can wait. Bad news, the longer you wait to tell me, the worse it's going to get. Just deliver bad news fast.
Ooh, right in the face. Right in the old nose.
That's right.
Awesome. All right, Tom, thank you again. Everybody, I appreciate you on this call. Let's keep going and crushing it. Thanks for inciting us and adding value.
I was going to just mention something.
Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
There's two acronyms I use all the time. I use a lot of them. But the FU, I gingerly say F squared. Sounds a little bit less intimidating. F squared is the fortunes in the follow-up. The FU is kind of intimidating to some of your clients. But as far as carrying a load, I never carry a load on my shoulder. And I remind my clients the very first time that I meet them, there's an acronym that you better remember forever. It's called OBTW. What do you think that means?
Oh, I'm writing this down. O
OBTW.
W.
OBTW.
I give up.
OBTW stands for there is never ever in the conversation an by the way. Oh, by the way. So if I have an OBTW, I have bad news to tell you, and it weighs too much on my shoulders to carry it. So I'm going to give you that news immediately. Don't come to closing 30 days later and tell me, Gary, oh, by the way. I go, no, we had that conversation day one. So when we are transparent with each other and we have our OBTW moments, we discuss it. It's called the conversation, because I hate putting out a problem when you can take care of it when it becomes a concern. So my concern and a problem is the OBTW, and it fits the acronym perfectly. So
Thank
just
you.
like you said, if you train your customers on how you do business and why you do what it is, and then we have an agreement to agree with each other that we're going to communicate. That's my only C word, is
I love it.
communication.
Thank you
So-
for sharing that. OBTW. Gotcha. Oh, by the
Yeah.
way.
Oh, by the way. Oh, by
All
the
right.
way.
Oh, by the way, Chris and everybody, thank you for having me
Yes,
on.
Sarah. Thank you, Gary, for that insight, my friend. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Love it. Go
Okay.
out.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome. Have a great day.